Hey guys, welcome back to the Joy of Communication. I'm your host by the name of Patience. It's been a minute since we aired any episode on Spotify. Since then, a lot has happened, but I'm so grateful to everyone who has taken their time to give our platform a listen. If you're new to my podcast or you've been here multiple times, I'm very grateful to have you join our little family, and it means the world to me to have your support. I want to take a moment to acknowledge and appreciate each and every one of you who have supported me. I'm genuinely grateful that you've tuned in every week to hear me do some solo episodes and interview guests. Your engagement and involvement in this podcast means the world to me, and I'm grateful for your continued support. Remember, the goal of the Joy of Communication is to foster open and honest discussion on various topics, including those that may be uncomfortable or controversial. We are here to create a community of open minded individuals who value effective communication and personal growth. Please feel free to suggest any topic you'd like us to cover in the future episodes. Don't forget to subscribe, leave your comments, and share this podcast with your friends and loved ones. Remember to spread the joy of communication far and wide. In today's episode, we'll be discussing why is self-love important in a relationship. But before we dive into that, I would like to introduce a special guest today. He works in the IT department, so he loves anything and everything about technology and also plays the bass guitar, piano, and drums. He loves being creative in music, videos, and he appreciates everything creativity. Today's guest is no other than David Montrose. Hi, David. It's nice having you here.
Hi, Patience. Thank you for having me.
We're getting into the winter vibe. So, what is your favorite season?
Winter, definitely.
That's not me. I'm summer girl, but it's good to know. How's have your day been so far?
It's been good. Yeah, just mostly a lazy day, but I'm helping my friend out with taking care of his cats.
Yeah,
He's got 5 of them, so it's kind of a handful.
that's crazy.
But just
Bye.
feeding them, giving them love, and then just doing some chores around the house.
So you're a dog person or a cat person?
I like both.
Okay.
Growing up, I thought cats were weird,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Okay.
But now that I'm a cat owner, I love cats.
Okay.
And I feel like I can connect more with cats that aren't my own cats.
How many cats do you have?
I have 2,
Oh wow. What are their names?
Bo and Piper,
Okay, Daddy. Are they boys or girls?
girl and boy,
Okay.
and their siblings.
Oh wow, beautiful. Okay, we'll get back to this podcast, okay? We're good to know. Thanks for sharing that. David, there's a quote that says the most powerful relationship you will ever have is a relationship with yourself. And it was written by Steve Maraboli. Do you believe that statement is true or false?
Yeah, I think it's definitely true.
Okay. So how do you define self-love and why is it essential to you?
I think self-love is being able to take care of and invest in and prioritize yourself in an effort to become more aligned with who you are inside.
Okay. Do you feel like you are aligned with who you are?
Definitely more than I have ever felt before.
Okay. Can I ask a big question? If I ask you, do you love yourself, David? What will your response be?
Yes.
Yeah, that is beautiful. Okay. Was there ever a challenging time you got to practice self-love, and what did that look like for you?
Yeah. A couple years ago, I went through something really difficult. And prior to that, I wouldn't have answered that question the same.
Yeah.
I think I would have said that I don't love myself. Going through that experience was really helpful in building my character and the way that I view myself and my purpose in life and a lot of different things. It was when I reached a rock bottom
Yeah.
with my confidence and my self-hate
Yeah.
that I grew to appreciate and understand the power of learning to love myself. Going through that whole process has just made me view the entire world and my own world completely differently
Yeah.
in a much better way, I think.
Okay. I know that love, it cannot be taught. as a child? Like, I don't know, there's this quote that says that kids are born with love. So how does a child, which is you, how do you go from a child that was full of love to look at yourself and I don't love myself?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of factors in the way that I grew up. I think a big part of it was my religious upbringing, and not specifically with what I was taught, but the way that I internalized or the way that I interpreted
Yeah.
what was being taught.
Yeah.
I think when I learned about sin or doing things that are wrong,
Yeah.
I think it was really something that I took very seriously.
Yeah.
I took on a lot more guilt than I think I was capable of.
Yeah.
And that led to a lot of shame about who I was. I think there are a lot of things that a lot of other people experience too, with growing up with siblings that tease you, or parents that you so desperately want to feel loved and like you make them proud.
Yeah.
But I think the hardest thing for me was feeling like I was a bad person
Yeah.
that was doing bad things.
Yeah.
That's when I started to develop the cycle of self-hate and negative thoughts about myself, being hard on myself. I don't blame religion. I don't blame God. I don't blame anyone other than just the way that I interpreted all of those things.
Yeah. So when you say bad things, was it like a child making mistakes and you felt like those were the bad things? Like, what was that?
Yeah, I think in retrospect, as an adult, I look back on a lot of the things that I hated myself for.
Mm-hmm.
I was just a kid.
Yeah.
And I was just doing normal kid things, experiencing what I know now as an adult to be a normal childhood.
Yeah.
But it was really difficult at the time because you only have so much perspective as a child, because you see all these adults and you look up to them and you think, oh my God, I want to be like either my parents or, other influential adults in your life. But I now know as an adult that adults are not perfect.
Yeah.
And adults make mistakes.
Yeah.
And do things that are wrong.
Yeah.
And they do it all the time.
And I guess at that time you felt like you were putting them in a pedestal, thinking that these people cannot like do anything wrong, and surprisingly they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think there are a lot of really great experiences that I had from my transition to being a child to where I am now that have helped me to learn that principle.
Yeah.
And that even if you think that you're the scum of the earth
Mm-hmm.
and that you have done the worst things
Yeah.
imaginable, odds are you're probably more like everyone else than you think. Not in a bad way, but in a way that hopefully should give you some relief.
Yeah. It's just everybody just trying to figure it out. Nobody has all the answers, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I think when you talked about culture a little bit, I want to cycle back there, because growing up as a child, when I was reading the Bible as a child, there was the Old Testament talk about this God that was very violent and forgiving, not forgiving, and will punish anybody for committing a crime. And I guess the New Testament talk about a loving God and a patient God. I was terrified with the Old Testament. Like, who is this God? Like, I believe that if I even said stupid, oh, you have a coconut head, I thought I was going to hell. And
Yep.
I was always scared not to be the child that says something that will give me the gateway to go to hell. So if I tell someone go, you have a coconut head, I'll freak out. I'm like, Heavenly Father, I'm so sorry. Please don't take me to hell. Don't punish me. But then as I grew up and get older, I realized that I wanted to have different relationship with God personally. So I thought of my God as a loving, kind, gentle God, which is willing to forgive my imperfections and just love me no matter what. And I think that helped my relationship with God. So I could understand when you talked about religion a little bit, because I could see how that would play a role with you just being hard on yourself. Okay, we'll move forward. Was there ever a challenging time you got to prioritize self-love, and what did that look like for you?
Yeah, like I said earlier, it was kind of a rock bottom moment for me where I just looked in the mirror and I just hated what I saw.
Yeah.
But it was kind of through, ironically, it was kind of through a lot of self-hate
Yeah.
that fueled me to start doing things about my insecurities
That is profound.
or the ways that I saw myself. It's hard talking about working out or weight because it's a sensitive topic to talk about.
Or different relationship with that, actually.
Say it again.
I said people have different relationship with those things.
Yeah. It's so subjective when it
Yeah.
comes to weight or when it comes to working out or fitness or nutrition. It's all very subjective. So I'm just going to basically say from my own experience and what I experienced. I spent most of my life being pretty thin.
Okay.
And it was something that I didn't really realize, or I didn't think that it was abnormal or wrong, or it was just the way that I felt like my body was.
Mm-hmm.
But various experiences throughout my life and the ways that people treated me, it was hard. The ways that people saw me, it was really hurtful, or the things that people would say.
Yeah.
And it's hard because it seems to be, if you're on the opposite side of the scale, there's a lot more awareness around that with body positivity. But as a man, there's a lot of stereotypes about men being big and strong.
Yeah,
and
what a man should look like.
what a man should look like.
Yeah.
And as a man, I didn't fit that stereotype.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of difficult emotions that I don't think I even realized fully how bad it was with how I viewed myself.
Okay.
But essentially, I started working out fueled by that self-hate
Mm-hmm.
and being fed up with the rock bottom of where I was with my confidence.
Yeah.
And I've physically changed and I've gained weight and gained muscle. But I think one of the most important parts of that transformation was what was happening inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
Physically, I could look in the mirror and I liked what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really powerful for me. And that confidence transferred to the way that people saw me.
Mm-hmm.
Because instead of when I'm interacting with people having that self-hate talk where I'm criticizing myself, viewing myself in a negative way, people treat me differently now than when I was thinner. You could say it's because of the way that I changed physically, but honestly, I think a big part of it is just my confidence, because I feel more confident in myself and I look in the mirror and I say, oh, sometimes I forget, oh, that's me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to say, again, everybody's different. Everyone's experience is different. So I don't want to come across as saying that that's the only way or whatever. But at least for me, it was something that really, really helped me.
So do you care about how you're perceived by people?
I definitely care about how I'm presented by people when it comes to a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest part that made me more confident or made me be able to love myself more was that I felt like the way that I looked on the outside reflected more of who I am in the inside.
Okay.
And on top of that, it's nice to look good. And that was the biggest reason why I started working out, was
Yeah.
because I wanted to look good. But the reason I continue to work out is mostly because I feel good.
Okay.
Not just the endorphins and the ways that you can feel good from working out, but also because it just makes me feel I'm working hard, investing in myself. It gives me that confidence of I'm doing the best that I can to be healthy and take care of my body.
So did you change your physical appearance for yourself or for the way you want people to see you?
Initially, it was definitely for the way I wanted people to see me.
Okay.
But I think it has really evolved into becoming more aligned with who I am inside.
Okay, tell me about that transition. What does that look like?
With,
Starting something for other people and then saying, okay, this is not for people, this is for me.
yeah, I think there's a lot of arguments on whether you have good reasons or bad reasons to do something, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, their motivations might be more of the vain things or the bad way
Okay.
or the bad reason to start something, whether it be working out in
Yeah.
this case, or I'm trying to think of other examples, but you might do the right thing for the wrong reasons. Like if you've ever heard that.
I've had that. Yeah.
Yeah, you could say I did the right thing for the wrong reasons. I wanted to look good
Mhm.
and I wanted to be big and strong. and look good for other people, which I'll admit I still want that too.
Yeah.
But there is a much larger part of me that cares about investing in myself and presenting myself in a way that aligns with more of who I am inside.
So tell me, when did you get to the point where you're like, okay, I want to invest in me. This is for me. Working out to look physically good is about David and not for just how people perceive me.
Yeah, I think when I started to realize all of the mental and emotional benefits of working out
Yeah.
was when it really struck me as, oh, this is helping me in multiple different dimensions and aspects. And that's why I haven't stopped, even though it's hard to make the time for it. I'm a musician. I love to play music, and I'm still battling with balance and trying to do all the things that I want to do. But working out, I haven't stopped because it's made a huge difference in my confidence and my mental health and my emotional well-being.
Okay, so how has loving yourself now influenced your relationships with other people?
Yeah, I think in all of my relationships, it helps me to treat people better.
Okay.
I think when you treat yourself better, it
Yeah.
gives you more space to treat others with more respect.
Yeah. Like you cannot point to someone's cup if your cup is half empty, and you have to pour into yours so you can pour and overflow on other people. So I agree with that actually. So do you feel like you've been having healthier relationship because of the fact that the way you see yourself is different now?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
I feel like I'm able to have more empathy and care more for people. And I always wanted to do that for other people. And I
Yeah.
think I always did to some
Yeah.
capacity. Because I treated myself with so much disrespect,
Mm-hmm.
I inadvertently and unintentionally, it kind of oozed into my relationships with other people.
Yeah. Do you let people cross those boundaries too? Because if you see yourself less, does that mean when people cross those boundaries, like see you this? Because I feel like the way you see yourself, that's how other people would see you. So were there moments where you feel like your boundary were being crossed based on the fact on the way you perceived yourself?
Yeah, I think because I didn't feel like I deserved to be loved
Yeah.
because I didn't love myself, right? I let a lot of things slide. One example is in my job, there was somebody that really hurt my feelings, and I felt bullied, but not in a way of like really intense bullying, like when you're in school. But I just felt like because of the way that I looked, like I maybe looked a little bit nerdier, I had glasses, I was thinner, that I was treated in a way. And also in past jobs, now that I think about it, I let a lot of people treat me with disrespect because of the way that I viewed myself with disrespect.
Yeah. I believe like loving yourself give you a space to grow, because when you see yourself in the light that you want to be seen, it just helps you want to grow. Now, there's a question that popped into my head that I wanted to ask. So hopefully I remember this question. When you were loving yourself in working on like just like loving yourself, because I feel like when you don't see yourself in the light that other people see you, even when they come into your space and tell you, David, you're amazing, David, you're great, it's so hard. I've been in a relationship where I'm trying to tell this person how great I believe he is, and I feel like it goes into 1 year and gets out into the other year, and it just goes into the deaf year. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. And it was a very difficult thing to like tell someone that they're great when they cannot even see their greatness. So were you ever in a space where you feel like people were just pouring you, like making you feel like seen and loved, but because of the fact that you didn't see that in yourself, it was not received in the way it should be received?
Yeah. A lot of examples of that for sure.
Yeah.
When it comes to my parents,
Yeah.
past relationships,
Yeah.
or my siblings. I think that thinking of a bunch of friends that I've had throughout the years,
Yeah.
there are a lot of people that really cared about me
Yeah.
and really wanted the best for me. But because I didn't have that love for myself, I think it really affected. I might have treated them badly, but I think it was more that I wasn't able to accept
Yeah.
that love that they had for me.
Yeah.
And because of that, it caused distance.
Yeah.
I think that intimacy or being close with another human being in any type of way, whether it's a friend or if you're in a relationship or a parent, I think intimacy is being able to let your guards down. And there's a lot of ways that you can do that. But I think letting my guard down to accept that love is something that has always created some distance, especially my friendships.
Okay.
And so being able to let down my guard and accept love from other people, I struggled with trusting people that they had the best interest for me, and they were really just trying to reach out to me and love me. And I just had a hard time accepting that love,
I felt the same way because in other relationships, when I try to hold them that tight and say, you're good enough, you're amazing, they push back because they have to see it in themselves. And I feel like when people start seeing in themselves, then it reflects everything that they touch, because before you tell them they're amazing, they know that. Do you feel like self-love is an individual work, or do you feel like it's a collective work where people should come in together and help you build your greatness?
Obviously, there's always other people involved. But I think that for me personally, it was something that I did on my own for the most part. And it was mostly because of, I'll say though, ideas that were shared with me by other people. This idea of self-love, I've heard that, and I've heard that throughout my life. But for some reason, it felt selfish or prideful, or it just felt like it was a bad thing to love yourself. And it feels so, now that I know what I know, it feels so wrong saying that.
It's like you're self-centered, like you're just thinking about yourself, you're selfish kind of thing. Okay.
But now I've learned that it's because, I don't know, sometimes when you think about loving somebody, the things that you do for, or like if I love myself, I'm going to eat a bunch of candy and sit on the couch and watch my favorite show, which that is also a form of self-love, or self-care. But I think the biggest forms of self-care that really help me are hard, and they take work and effort. And it's not just working out, it's like working on your career and anything that helps you build the life that you want for yourself, whatever that is. Because being a musician, being around other musicians, it doesn't necessarily have to mean fame or fortune or wealth or any of those things, which it can as well. But just anything that you can do to build the life that you want. I think whatever is your success, that is loving yourself. And most of the time that's doing the hard thing, making the hard decisions.
And also even doing the little things like making your bed, like brushing your teeth, like taking that shower, like eating that breakfast and all stuff for the whole day. Those are things that actually are important. I feel like with little things, great things come to pass, and you can start by the little things. And sometimes self-love is not just the easiest thing, just by just making your bed. It's like also like doing the hard stuff, like you said. And it's important to put everything in the category that they belong and figure out which one is your priority. So I want to ask you, do you feel like now you're at the space where you love yourself, you feel like David is good enough and David is worth it? Do you feel like you're growing? Because I feel like growth is the most important factor, the reason why people should do what they do. So now that you look at yourself, has David grown?
I've definitely grown. That being said, though, I believe that being able to fully and completely love yourself is a lifelong process.
I agree.
And I'm not perfect at it. I'm working on it every day, but sometimes I'm really lazy, or sometimes I have a hard time doing those daily simple things of self-love, or I'll miss a few days at the gym. There's a lot of things that I'm still working on, but it is night and day compared to where I was before. Like I've said multiple times, I think just the fact that I can look at myself in the mirror, or I have these affirmations on my watch. It just cycles through different ones. So right now it says, I am enough.
I love that. You are enough. Very much so.
And I think being able to tell myself that, I wouldn't have even been able to say something like that to
Yeah.
myself seriously and mean it while looking in the mirror a few years ago. And I think being able to say, I am enough and mean it, it makes a huge difference.
Mm.
And for anybody that's listening and who is like I was or like I still am sometimes today, love yourself. It really, really makes a difference. And
Yeah.
it's hard to do, but if you put in the work to do it, you'll never go back.
Thank you so much. I'm so proud of you for working so hard on yourself. I see it daily in your life and I am so amazed. I think you're the most beautiful person on the planet and I think you've grown even in our relationship. I've seen you grow that far. So thank you so much for sharing this insightful, beautiful thing that you shared. I appreciate every word you've said. Guys, I believe that loving yourself is the foundation of a happy and fulfilling life as it empower you to embrace your uniqueness, building resilience and cultivating meaningful relationship, ultimately leading to a deeper understanding and acceptance of your true self. You can't pour into anyone's cup if yours is half full. Knowing you are and will always be the love of your life is very important. Self love is the practice of caring for, appreciating, and valuing oneself in a healthy and positive way. It involves recognizing your own worth, treating yourself with kindness, and prioritizing your well being, both physically and emotionally. Self love is about understanding and accepting yourself as you are, including your strengths and your weaknesses, and being compassionate towards yourself, especially during challenging times. Please give yourself grace. It also means setting boundaries, saying no when necessary, and doing things that nurture your growth and happiness. Self love does not imply arrogance or selfishness. Instead, it's about developing a balanced and healthy relationship with yourself so you can live a fulfilling life and build a stronger relationship with others. Ultimately, self love allows you to enter a relationship from a place of security and wholesomeness, making it possible to build a relationship based on mutual respect, trust, and genuine connection. I hope as you go into this week, you find a reason to pour into yourself. Remember, when you say yes to yourself, you say no to everything else that doesn't serve you. And that's from Daniela. Now, David, our last question before we end our podcast. What are the three adjectives that describes you?
I think curiosity, passion, and creativity.
I also say smart too, and very kind and loving and understanding and willing to always be selfless. So I'll add that to the list. You're amazing, just saying. But thank you so much for coming to our podcast. Thank you for being an amazing guest. It was lovely having you here. So thank you for actually coming and going through this process with me and
You're
talking about
welcome.
everything. So I appreciate you for coming.
Yeah, I had a blast. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. Guys, this is the end of today's episode. I hope you enjoyed the conversation had today. Thank you for joining our little family. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I will see you soon on the next episode. Bye. Thank you. Bye, guys.